Well, I'm delighted today to be speaking to Jiggy Rawal, Managing Partner of Jellyfish Consulting and one of our sponsors for High Net Worth Advisors Riyadh event coming up this November. Welcome, Jiggy.
Hi, David.
So, Jiggy, first of all, it would be great to hear a little bit about Jellyfish Consulting and services you provide for clients.
Yeah, so Jellyfish Consulting, we've been around since 2017. Majority of our clients are all international, so we have quite a wide variety from the UK, South Africa, Saudi Arabia as well. We've operated there for a number of years already. So we have both corporate clients and ultra high net worth clients, so we service both ends of the spectrum. And we really have a little niche in the marketplace in that we are probably more fixers than your traditional consultancy. So we don't come in to find the problem as such. We will identify the problem, but we will kind of come in with how can we change this, how can we grow this, how can we develop this, fix it, and create some value in what we have.
And what was your background prior to Jellyfish Consulting? I mean, you need a broad skill set to come in and be that fixer effectively. What was it that what skills are you leveraging from your career past?
So my career has actually been in financial services most of my life. I used to be the CFO for one of the largest UK insurance businesses in the UK marketplace today. I've done that's taken me through buyouts and regulatory licensing transactions.
Yeah.
And that's been throughout my life. That's kind of what I've done with organisations, taken them apart, put them back together, grown them, fixed them, and seen them flourish, I guess. And that kind of has led me to where I am today, kind of going, right, it's something I actually genuinely enjoy doing as well.
So the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is a market you know well. You developed some contacts, some clients there. What is it that you see in the Kingdom right now?
I see huge potential, huge dynamic movements and shifts. I've seen the Kingdom grow from its initial place of kind of, we've got a strategy, a Vision 2030, which was quite impressive and quite a feat to achieve, to now moving into execution, having bedded down the strategy, moving into that phase. And growth actually emerging. So it's embryotic, but you could see the development growth. So the ideas are now becoming actual physical, realizations of what was there. And that is impressive. They've looked at what's worked in other places, what's not worked, and kind of gone, how can we better this? And that's, for me, a very, very exciting opportunity.
And the key business families and family offices are an important part of that landscape, aren't they, in the way business is done in Saudi. What's your observation on the family office niche within the broader economy of the country?
Family offices are growing in Saudi. There is a huge one. I mean, even just from the clientele we have, there is a huge one from them to kind of go, well, how can we invest in Saudi? How can we invest abroad as well? So how can we use and grow what we already have? So it's no longer about just kind of keeping the wealth and handing it down. It's about growing the wealth, developing it, kind of expanding it and going beyond borders. And that brings a different dynamic to family offices from where they were previously about almost just wealth preservation into kind of wealth growth, succession planning, all of those types of things.
The strategy component there is important, isn't it? So how might you help them develop their strategic thinking around the business, where it is now and where it might be?
So this is an interesting point because people go strategy and people go, well, that's a will. Well, no, strategy is not your will. Will's what happens when you die. The strategy is what we do when we are here today. We'll look at, for me, it's about looking at what are your hopes, what are your visions, what is your ambition, where are you hoping your family office to be? Are you looking to grow it? Is there a particular opportunity even within the structure that you have to add some value and create something? So creating that, but incorporating the entire family view, so one generation differs from the next. So the vision of one generation is not the same as you're going to get from the next generation. So incorporating that vision and kind of going, well, what does that mean we have to implement now into the strategy, and then how do we execute that going forward? So is the vision to stay as we are? is it a vision to expand into other markets and segments? And if so, how do we do that?
And are there any particular sectors you see as interesting and dynamic? I mean, I know you've got a background experience in around the insurance world. Fintech is something a lot of people talk to me about in Saudi. Are there certain parts of the economy you think are more interesting and have more potential?
I think fintech, definitely, yes. Insurtech, absolutely. There is a huge piece around data and data services in Saudi in particular, because there is a vast amount of data that hasn't yet been utilised and captured. So there's huge segments there. But there is also, there is your retail, there is manufacturing. These industries do exist in Saudi, and they're fantastic and they're incredible. They're just not as well known maybe in the marketplace as their financial services, but they're there. So in terms of expansion, it's across the kingdom, it's across sectors. There's no one sector that is kind of just trailing kind of thing. They're all at it.
And how might you work with intermediaries who are dealing with clients? So it might be the client's banker, lawyer, they've got a close advisor who they trust. What kind of mandate might you come in on if you're trying to work together and achieve a good result for the client?
For me, ultimately, it's about adding value, creating value for the client. And that's where we really want to look at this. So for me, it's working with the advisors, understanding where their clients are at today, but then really speaking with the clients and kind of going, what are you looking to be in the future? This isn't about kind of where your will's going, so to speak, but it's about going back into the point of where do you want your family office to be? What are you looking to develop and grow? Is it expanding your portfolio? Is it growing into other sectors? Is it growing into other borders, kind of thing? Is there an element of innovation that wants to happen? And if you have an existing structure already, existing operational base, can we add value to that operational base? Because quite often family offices have grown over time, have just been built, paperwork's in place, and people kind of go, we have a family office. Well, no, if you think about it, a family office is a business. It's a business, it's there to generate and create wealth, kind of thing. So maximising efficiencies and operations of family offices in of themselves, the risk, the governance. Governance is becoming a huge priority for family offices over time, which is something previously people weren't quite so aware of, but managing the risk profile of the family office and kind of going, got too many eggs in one basket, or do we need to kind of work on diversifying out a little bit? But it's looking at all those elements with the advisor from a more holistic lens. This is not a tax lens or a legal lens necessarily. Is this actually viable as a business? Will it
it's the
stand
commercial mindset.
Yeah. Will it stand the test of time?
Yeah.
So if we're talking the next 3 or 4 generations down, will it succeed for the next 3 or 4 generations? What we have in place today, or does it need to develop and change?
And I mean, a big part of Vision 2030 is also the internationalisation, isn't it, in a sense? So connections overseas here into the UK or into the US, more important than ever, aren't they? But then without strategy to tie things together, you end up with a disparate basket of investments that don't necessarily make sense. So that international piece is front and centre, from my feeling from our last event there.
Absolutely. It goes back into, there is a huge middle class growing wealth population in Saudi Arabia. I know, many of my clients they studied abroad, so they've gone to America or the UK, come back to Saudi, full of amazing ideas, and are going about creating and implementing these ideas. So that emerging wealth market is there. And they want to do more exciting things. They want to invest in opportunities outside of Saudi as well as in Saudi. And kind of being able to support them and say, okay, well, here's an expansion opportunity. This is how we can expand, but in a sensible, controlled way, not in a, here's let's just go by. That's not the approach. It is, how do we do this? How do we do this in a way that achieves what they're ultimately looking for, which is to grow their overall family position. And that's how we need to look at it.
So we've got our event coming up on the 12th of November at Hyatt Regency. Alai, you were along last year as a guest. We're really looking forward to an event with discussion, networking, and a dinner. You've been a regular visitor to Riyadh over the years. Do you enjoy visiting the country?
I love it. It's one of the places I feel incredibly at home. Funnily enough, you know, I've worked in many, many countries. It's always welcoming and inviting. And you know, culturally, it's just incredible to see. And the changes I see every time I go back just astound me even more, that country can move with such pace in developing itself and growing. And it's positive. It's positive. Everyone you go is always talking about change and wanting to develop. It makes it a much more positive place to be. And yeah, it means the people you're working with are also quite exciting and full of ideas. And
absolutely, I've had the same experience. But Jiggy, thank you so much for talking to me today, and we look forward to sharing more ideas and content and thoughts as we approach our event.
Really nice to be here.